Hello. How are you feeling tonight? I'm okay. I'm okay today. But you know what's not okay? The discourse around video games today. I was very alarmed to wake up and discover everyone was mad about a little word called Metroidvania. Because someone wrote an article saying that the word is bad and we need to get rid of it and we need to improve upon it. No. I'm here to tell you that the word is good, actually. Metroidvania is good. The games, of course, are good. The word is good. Hear me out. So first of all words are bad. No, seriously. Every word that's ever existed is something that someone made up, and these words don't make any sense. Okay? I'm sorry. There's no sense in there. Some words have a cute story behind them, but most words are just nonsense. So let's put that past us, okay? If you complain that Metroidvania is bad because it's two different words that were themselves two different words mashed together, so what? Every word's a mishmash of everything. Doesn't matter. And also, I don't know. To me, a portmanteau is like two words that come together and then it means something. Like the two words mean something together, like, breakfast, lunch, brunch. Like, Metroid was just two nonsense English words they put together that didn't mean anything. And Castlevania is like, well, we don't want to call it Transylvania, but it's in a castle. What do we call it? Castlevania? I don't know. It was a brilliant name. It's a brilliant name. So Metroidvania together, I know, it's a little long. Metroidvania, it's a little long. But it's perfect because if you play video games at any point in your life, you've probably heard one of those two words before. And those games are distinct. And it's like we used to describe video games a lot in terms of other video games. Before we had a term first-person shooter, we just called everything a Doom clone, okay? Even though Doom wasn't the first-person shooter, we just, this is a Doom clone, it's a Doom clone, it's a Doom clone. And then eventually we realized it was a genre unto itself. Now, is first-person shooter better than Doom clone? Yes, because most first-person shooters are not exactly like Doom. But if we had called it Doom-like is not a bad word, It conveys a lot of information. There's no equivalent for a Metroidvania. What are you going to call it? An exploratory platformer? Exploratory action-adventure platformer? Because guess what? All those words are garbage too, okay? I remember when the NES first came out in America, there were action games and there were adventure games. What's the difference? There's no difference between those two words. Like now, of course, we have a concept for what an adventure game is, but even then, like, that's a very specific name for a very specific genre of games, even though most video games at this point are taking you on some sort of adventure. But no, you mean point-and-click adventure games, which, again, point-and-click implies a mouse, which, in the case of those games, it makes sense. Maybe first-person shooters should be called point-and-shoot games. How's that? I don't know. But yeah, all these words come from somewhere. They're all arbitrarily applied. None of them hold up to the slightest bit of scrutiny, except for maybe puzzle. A puzzle game, you solve puzzles. That makes sense. Platformer does not make any sense, okay? It assumes you, like, it's real. I guess it goes back to Donkey Kong, but it's like, are those platform? Why don't we call them girders? It just doesn't. And what's a platformer game versus an action game? What's an action platformer versus a adventure platformer? Action adventure platformer? These don't RPG. We can argue for years about what's an RPG, what's not an RPG. It's meaningless. Okay, Metroidvania is a awkward word, but it's relatively compact, and it invokes a lot of imagery when you hear it. And if you don't know what it is, it takes you about 30 seconds to understand what it is. That's it. Okay? And lastly, I understand. You want to make a new word? Go ahead. You get to make up new words all the time. But no one gets to pick which words stick and which words don't. Because I'll tell you right now, about 3 or 4 years ago, when my friends at MetaNet Software released a game called N++. I wrote about that game for Wired.com, and I described that game as a mix of frustrating, because it's very, very hard, and exhilarating, because when you get it right, it feels amazing. And I put those two words together into frustrillerating. Okay? Don't ask me to spell it. It's hard to spell. I think I coined that word because if you Google that word today, my writing is the only one that comes up for it. So I made a new word. Great. Did anyone care? No, even though it was in Wired.com. It's never been used again. I don't think anyone's going to use it ever again. Whoops. Metroidvania is here to stay, okay? If you invent something better, great. I'll consider it. But even if you do, I think the people have spoken. We like it. We like those games. And right now, I'm ready for sleep. Good night, everybody. I love you.